I give you the elevated directions. And if we follow the elevated directions, we become pure and we become eligible for going into the pure world. Yes, but do we follow Baba's directions? Yes, what is Baba's directions? So just think about it, Baba is asking us to be viceless, and Baba is asking us to use our body, mind and wealth according to Baba's Srimad. But do we do that? Or we know everything and we are still behaving according to our old patterns, old sanskars. We are still being deceived by Maya. Yes, so whatever makes us not follow Baba's directions is Maya. Yes, but Maya works in many ways, and I very much liked what Baba said in the world, in the Murli, that in this world impurity is glorified a lot. Yes, in this world impurity is glorified a lot. And when I was not in Gyan and I was young, so whenever I used to watch movies, I always used to ask my Lokik father, why does the movie end where it should begin? So so all the fighting and all the problems and everything they show, and when it's all that is over and it is a happy life, then they stop the movie there and they say the end. So I always used to tell him, I want to see beyond this. What happens beyond this? So he used to say, I don't have an answer to that. And I always wondered, why don't they show beyond that happy end? So there is wherever there is the other stuff, that's the movie. And when it's all happy, then they end the movie. So I always had this question, and when I was reading today's Murli, I had this feeling that impurity is always glorified. So acts of people think that when something is lustful and there is violence and there is the play of greed and attachment and ego going on, that story is interesting. But if there is none of these vices, then it is boring and it doesn't make any news, or it doesn't make any gossip, and it is not entertaining. But Baba says that that's what Maya has taught us. And in this world, all impurity is glorified. And not just that, impurity is not only glorified in the movies or in the media, but everywhere. You see, in the stories we read, in all the creative work that's done, even in the scriptures, religion, everywhere impurity is glorified. So even when you're watching a mythological work or you're reading a scripture, which part do you enjoy most? When God is getting emotional in that. So you have these scenes in the Ramayana and in the Gita where God is getting emotional, and you like that. So you like all emotions. And in the blessing today, Baba talks about ek ras and other ras. So when there is, Baba says, when you are with the truth, when you're pure, then you have only one state of mind, which is peaceful, pure and stable. But do we like that peaceful, pure, stable state, or we want to enjoy every emotion and this and that? And these days Psychology tells us that you should be able to feel every emotion. So, they will draw pictures of what sadness looks like, what anger looks like, what irritation looks like, and then they will teach you that you need to know all these emotions and experience all these emotions. But Baba says, no, there is no need for emotions. You only need pure feelings, all the time, uh, feeling pure, stable, peaceful, joyful inside. That's what you want to feel. You don't want to feel the other kind of emotions. So there's a difference we make between feelings and emotions. So feelings come from the soul consciousness, feelings of purity, love, joy, happiness, and these are very stable in nature. There is no up and down, there is no instability. And emotions come from body consciousness. So those emotions are a different set. But in the world, emotions are glorified. Stable feelings are looked down upon, So anybody who is very stable, they'll say this person is a stone and they have no feelings, and they are always in the same state, and you don't cry when the others are crying, you don't get excited when the others are getting excited. So that's looked down upon. So that's how the world is training us to be. And that so this is there is this one girl, and she told me that when she started coming to the center, she started feeling very stable. And then her friend commented that these days you're turning into a stone and nothing affects you, and this is not normal. And then she said that, she came for around 15 days, and then she, just like we all have our journey of up and down, she also stopped coming for some days. So 1 week she was absent, and then she had some issue, and then she was crying, and she was not in that state. And then her friend said, now you are somewhat normal, even if you're crying, I feel very good because now you're at least normal. So she said, look at my friend, who needs enemies when you're friends like this? So these friends are telling you that if you're crying, you're normal. If you're not crying, then there's something wrong about you. So I said, this is how the world teaches us to be. And you see, in every work of art, in every creation, in every scripture, lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed are camouflaged as very attractive. So you love watching a fight sequence, on the screen, and you love reading a fight sequence in a story. But do you understand that a fight sequence in reality is not something that feels good? But in the world also, I think, we have this learned attitude towards violence and lust, because we are trained to feel like that. And then people have a fight, and sometimes they start enjoying that also. They also start saying that, we fight together, we love together, we live together, we fight together. But what is so beautiful about fighting together? But you are always talking about, glorifying your fights also. And then look at how much stress is glorified, or how much tension is glorified. And these days, it's very fashionable that you're wearing a suit, and you are power dressed, and then you are saying, I'm stressed, and that's a sign of a successful person. So if I asked you to draw the image of a successful person, what's your image of a successful person? Somebody who is, dressed in a pantsuit, and then that person is very stressed and with the hand here, and then they are saying, I have so much to do and so less time. So that's the sign, that's the image of a successful person. So now you think about it, we all know about the law of attraction. So what are we attracting? So if our idea of success, of life is this, then we are attracting all that sorrow and stress and pain into our lives and hurt into our lives, because that's our idea. And then Baba says that be pure. And Baba says that don't fall into the trap of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed. Baba says all acts of lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed, whether they are done in the mind, whether through words, whether through the body, whether your money goes into that or your time goes into that, all of that is creating sin. But this is very different from the world, because in the world it's a different story and here it's a different story. And this is why, and then Baba says that if you want to be pure, then the method is to every day listen to the Murli, pay attention to the Murli. Murli is the first thing. So, Murli is the mind of God, Murli is the first thing. So, paying attention to what Baba is saying and noting it down in your buddhi and churning over it, that's the first thing. And then Baba says, take out time in silence and just detach from the body and sit in Baba's remembrance and sit with the purifier and come to that experience that you are like Baba, you are a pure soul. And then Baba says, also, very consciously make choices that are not based on vices. So, make choices which are pure, choices of pure food, choices of pure lifestyle, choices of pure words. So make these choices. And then Baba says, and if you are really becoming pure, if you have the aim to be pure and you're becoming pure, then the sign is you will become Baba's helper. Yes, because if you look at it, where is all our body, mind and wealth going? It is going into impurity. Yes, impurity is like a big well, and a big well where you throw everything and it goes down and just vanishes and nothing comes out of it. So in this big well of impurity, you're throwing away all your body, mind and wealth and receiving nothing. Yes, so you are running after, you're spending your time, your thought, your energy, your money, everything, because an impure soul is into the pursuit of happiness, pursuit of peace, but they are doing that in the old world. And then the old world is like this black hole which sucks all your energy, your time, your thought, your money, but it gives you nothing in return. But an impure soul will always try to, again wander into the old world and seek everything there. So that's the sign of impurity. And Baba says, so Baba today makes a distinction between stepchildren and real children. And Baba says, real children are those who understand that if I did what Baba said, then I would become pure. And then they do what Baba says. So everyday Murli, everyday yoga, everyday making choices which are pure. So this is something. And do you know that the most important virtue in this Brahmin life is consistency. So, we are, and not consistent every day. Consistency is something that has to be ensured every second. Yes, every second. And today Baba says drama is designed second by second. And do you understand that every second has an influence on the next second? That is why we say vicious cycle, virtuous cycle. So when we follow Shrimat, then that Shrimat makes it easier to follow Shrimat the next second. So, but if you just didn't pay attention to Srimad for some time, then the old world and the negativity and impurity of the old world just takes over. And if you miss Murli, I don't think that these days one time Murli is enough. I don't think so. I think that at least one Murli, one Manthan you have to. Because if you don't at least take in that much, then I don't know whether we will be able to do anything else. So earlier it was one Murli a day, and that was sufficient because the impurity of the world was also not that high. But I think with this COVID and all, the scenario has changed. And I remember that before COVID we never did Manthan. Like, we did it personally, but it was not like a Manthan class or something. But during COVID, all this started, this new part started where we read one Murli and explain, and then there is Manthan also. So, why? Because these are the times when you need that much of, churning of Gyan to enter your buddhi. And then Baba says that when you take in that and then you keep your buddhi engaged in that stuff, churning over that stuff, and then you keep applying whatever you learnt in the Murli during the day, then you will build a momentum which will help you to progressively follow Srimad. And if for 1 hour, so these days our spiritual frequency is such that the pull of negativity is such, or the impurity in the world is such, that 1 hour you don't pay attention to your to your mind, or 1 hour you just engage in speaking, listening, engaging in the world, then that will spoil another 7 days. So 1 hour of not following Srimad can take you very down. So this is why it's very important that, and I keep conducting these surveys in my own way, because when I talk to souls and all, I keep asking them, so for how long did you do this, and then what was the result. So I keep doing these experiments also. So I figured out that 1 hour of wasteful, so 1 hour on the reels, or 1 hour people are engaging in something, and then that makes you go downhill, and then the next day you're not even listening to Murli, not even doing anything. So that is how this is going on. So Baba says that you have to be always on your toes, and every second you have to watch out that whatever you're thinking, whatever you're doing, whatever time you are spending, whatever energy you're spending, how you're using your body, mind and wealth is according to Srimad. And when you do that, that's the way to be pure. And when you become pure, the sign of it is you become Baba's helpers. So impure need help, pure become helpers. That's the law. So just ask yourself one question: where am I? Am I in the state where I need help, or am I in the stage where I have become a helper? And how do you become a helper? So when you start taking responsibility for Yajna Seva, when you start feeling that I am Baba's right hand, and my life, my resources are for Yajna Seva, and you cannot think of any other use of your resources, that's a sign of purity. So purity doesn't mean that you make a choice or something. It becomes a natural choice for you, that what will you do with your body, mind, and wealth? You will use it for seva only. So that's the kind of a shift that happens, because when you're impure, everything in the world deserves your body, mind, and wealth. Yes, so you feel that everything out there, every garbage is calling out to you, and you need to invest in that. And when you're pure, you just know that this stuff is not for me, and I'm meant for this, and I want to do this. So it's like it becomes a natural choice. So sometimes people say that um, so we made this choice. So there was this one brother who said that you people make this choice of doing seva and surrendering your life, and that's a big choice. So I said, but it's a natural choice that comes naturally. It's not something we do, something that we have to use a lot of willpower for or any power for. It's just come naturally, because when you keep following Shrimad, it keeps purifying you. And then when you become pure, what else will you do with your life? You will become Baba's helper. So the pure will always like to be with the pure, with the ocean of purity. So that is the sign of a pure soul. So Baba says that, and sometimes, when we don't understand this, we think that we are becoming pure, but just ask yourself, where is your body, mind, and wealth going? Is it going into Yajna Seva, or is it going into the world? If it is going into the world, then that's not purity. That's not purity. So, because we sometimes, children think that I'm using all my time and energy and everything in the old world, and I'm a pure soul. But why do you choose one over the other? Why don't you choose the benefit of every soul? And why do you choose physical benefit over spiritual benefit? Why do you make these choices where you say, my children should go to school and that's my responsibility, and not that world seva is my responsibility? Because you're still bound by attachment. So, if you are still, so if you're pure, you will have an unlimited intellect, where every soul is your brother and serving them is your duty. But if you think that only the 5 people in the family are my duty, or my job is my duty, and the others are not my duty, then that's a sign of impurity. Body consciousness is a sign of impurity. So when you think about world seva, when you think about the spiritual seva of the world, then that's what is a sign of purity. Yes, and I remember, there was, you will have these moments in your journey where you will have to make a choice between the limited and the unlimited. So, it's so seva, there is need for seva also, and then there is a personal need also, like maybe one family member needs your time, and then there is some time you have to devote to seva. So let's say I ask you to do some seva, and then that seva needs time, and then at the same time one family member also needs time, some member of the Lokik family. Then who will you choose? That's the question. So, you will choose where there is more benefit. So, when you do Vishwa Seva, obviously the Punya Karma you earn is much greater than when you serve one soul. But why do you choose that one soul over so many? Because you are attached to them. So, that's not a sign of purity. So, when we studied economics, there was this concept of opportunity cost. So, what is an opportunity cost? An opportunity cost is when, so let's say you get a job and that job pays you 1 lakh a month, and then you are already in a job which pays you 1,20,000 a month, right? So if you leave this job and join the new one, then what is your opportunity cost? 1,20,000. So you're giving up 1,20,000 to get a job of 1 lakh. So your opportunity cost is higher. So in the cost benefit analysis, the opportunity cost becomes higher, right? But when somebody is earning 10,000, yes, or they are jobless, and then they get a job for 10,000, then what is the opportunity cost? 0. Yes, so then they should take up the 10,000 job, because in the cost benefit analysis, it is very important that you calculate the opportunity cost, and then you see that what you're getting now is greater than the opportunity cost, so that's beneficial. So let me give you a very simple example. So there was this one brother, and I asked him to make tickets one time, and he asked me, how do you want me to make tickets? Go to the counter or do it online? So I said, however you choose it. So he said, what's the difference? So I said, maybe you have to pay some internet charges or online booking charges when you book it online, and if you go to the counter, then you will spend some time, but those charges won't be there. Yes, and then you will get tickets which you can cancel very easily over the counter and all. So that was some years back, so there were other repercussions also. So then he said, let me go to the counter. So I said, okay, you go to the counter, but why did you make this choice? So I said, because I have nothing better to do in that time. So I might as well go to the counter and save at least, even 10 rupees I save, that's a saving, because my time is not being used in any way at that time, right? So the opportunity cost is 0. So whatever you are getting is a bonus, right? So even in seva, we calculate like this. So let's say, somebody is asking too many questions, and then I have a class which is pending, and that class is waiting, and then in that class there are 60 souls sitting, and this is one person asking too many questions. Then what will I say? I will attend you another day and I will attend the class. Yes, but if there is no seva at that time, then even if that person is asking me 20 questions, I will attend that, because there is no opportunity cost. Yes, so this is the concept of opportunity cost. Now Baba tells us that when you come to Baba and you realize what your body, mind and wealth is worth. So do you understand that earlier there was no opportunity cost? So we kept using our time, thought, energy, body, mind and wealth for what? For wasteful things, because we didn't know better. We didn't know how to use it better. But now we are in Sangam Yuga, and all of this can be used for world seva. Every ounce of your energy, every thought, every second of your time, and every paisa that you earn can be used for world seva. And every time you do it on Shrimat, it's doing world seva. It's doing spiritual seva of the world. So this is why Baba says, when your intellect gets cleaned of all the I and mine, and you become pure, when the vices are not dictating you, then you realize that whatever you have is such a big asset, your talents, your specialities. Just think about the beautiful songs that you hear, yes, that connect you to Baba. What is that? That's just a soul who knows how to sing and has offered that quality to Baba. Yes, you look at all the technology that's being used in the yajna. So that's just the contribution of souls who have technical know-how to Yajna Seva. You look at the India One solar plant, what's that? That's the contribution of souls who have scientific know-how to Yajna Seva. And just imagine how much of work is being done through them. So Baba says, just think about, how people are just wasting their everything that they have after desires and after impurity. And here you have this talent, and whatever you have, you can just use it for benefit of the world by joining hands in Yajna Seva. So Baba says that this is the sign of a pure soul. So when you start becoming pure, you understand the opportunity cost of your body, mind and wealth. So, and this happens when you keep following Shrimad. So, Shrimad, every step that you take on Shrimad opens the locks on your intellect. And when the locks on your intellect are opened, then you start seeing what you couldn't see earlier. Then you start seeing you start seeing the importance of what Baba is saying. Yes, so that's the sign of a pure soul. And in the world, only impurity is glorified. And I remember there was this one person, and I was asked, we were looking out for a place on rent for the center, and there was this fellow who had a big house with a big hall, and I was really interested to take that on rent for Seva. And then, this person said that I will give my house to any chief, any thief, dacoit, anybody, but not anybody who is, into spiritual stuff. So I have a lot of mistrust with these sadhus and gurus, and I will not give my house to any spiritual any person who smells of spirituality, and I will give it to a thief and a dacoit or anything. So I said, okay, then let your wish be granted. So because this is the way, when Baba says this is the time of dharma glani. So what is dharma glani? So when people think that it's good if we throw away our stuff, or it's good that we use it for all the unrightful purposes, but just using it for Yajna Seva doesn't make sense to them. Yes, so that's the time of dharma glani, when everything noble is looked down upon. And this is what Maya has done. So every time you do something on Shrimad, Maya will start creating doubts into you. But every time you are doing something based on vices, Maya makes you feel that that's the most right thing to do. Yes, so, and but if you look at it, you have always used your everything on Maya's mat, and what have you got? So let's try using it on Shrimad and see what we can get. So that's the thing that Baba says. That's the difference between purity and impurity. So an impure soul will say, why should I use my time, my energy, my thought on Shrimad? And a pure soul would say, what else will I do? Let me use it on Shrimad. So this will look like a very natural choice to you. So this is something that Baba says, and Baba talks about being a trustee. And when you are, so there are these two words, nyara and pyara. So trustee is about being detached, being nyara, right? But Baba says pyara comes first. So when you love Baba, when you belong to Baba, then you automatically become detached from everything. And detachment is not dissociation. Detachment is not callousness, that I don't care, yeah, whatever happens to you, I have nothing to do with it. No. Detachment means you do the needful, but you're not emotionally entangled. So, detachment means you do what is needed, you understand the needs, do the needful, but you're not emotionally entangled. And where there is I and mine, there is a lot of emotion, and you are so helpless that you can't do anything, can't do the needful. So, in the world, what is happening is everybody is showing a lot of emotion. People are crying for you, they are doing so much for you, but they are getting bitter and angry when somebody is hurting you, but they can't do anything for you. They can't help you because they are themselves powerless. But here Baba says, you belong to me, I make you powerful, you do the needful. You give everyone what they need, but don't get emotionally entangled. So there's no need for you to cry. You need to pull somebody out of crying, no? So you can do that. So Baba says, if you belong to Baba, then you can live in the world like a trustee. And when there is, so Baba says, I and mine, these are two words that entangle you in the world. So what you do is change these two. I am a soul and mine is one Baba and none other. So when I am a soul and mine is one Baba and none other, then I have an indirect relationship with everybody and a direct relationship with Baba. And then what happens is you are a trustee. So you behave like a trustee and you take care of everything, but you're not emotionally entangled. And then Baba says, a trustee would be constantly light and always in the ascending stage, because you're doing good karma, so that will make you ascend, and because you're not emotionally entangled, so you will stay light. Do you get heavy during the day? So do you feel this, heaviness of the mind and the heart during the day? All that is because you're not behaving like a trustee. And then Baba says, there would be no consciousness of mind and no waves of sorrow. So trusteeship will save you from all the unnecessary entanglement in the world. But for becoming a trustee, you have to surrender to Baba. Yes, so you cannot become a trust. So what people are doing these days? They say, I want to be entangled with the spouse and the children, but be a trustee for the mother-in-law. That's not happening. That's not happening. You can either be, because love and attachment and hatred, they go hand in hand. If you attach to someone, you cannot be loveful to the other. You will either be attached to them or hate them. So if it's, you love the spouse, you love his children. Yes, so that love is not love, that's attachment. So you are attached to the spouse, you are attached to his children, but you are not attached to the one who is attached to him, which is the mother-in-law. So then you hate them. So these vices, they go hand in hand. So these are the pairs of opposites that they exist together. So Baba says, when you only love Baba, you're not attached to anyone, then you can be loveful to everyone. When you are attached to only Baba, then you can be loveful to everyone. Okay? So Baba gives us all the formulas, but it is for us to put it into practice. Only understanding will not help. You have to do also. Okay, Om Shanti.